Yeah, so he had one of them, had a banjo where it looked like one of them plastic heads on it. You could see right through it. I've saw them a long time ago, but I guess now they use that and it's better than leather. And was that airplane crash on Greg's part? That red plane? Was that on his air show part? I didn't know if that was down there or in his segment. I didn't know if it was part of that air show or what. But Greg had some good stunt flying there. Well, that guy could fly that plane inverted all right, couldn't he? That kind of reminded me of us flying radio control, because we fly a lot inverted like that, upside down. But on Greg's part, you could hear the audio from making the dough. And I thought, well, what's going on here? I'm getting that audio. And I said, well, I'm using my new Sony 1000. And I believe I did select mix on the menu so that it would play both the hi-fi and the linear track at the same time. But so I wasn't sure. But I believe what happened was when you inserted that video, you didn't hit the audio button too, so that it would erase the linear track. So that's probably what happened on that. And then when it got on up to Bob, I had about 5 minutes of Bob's narration on Greg's air show. So that's what it was. It didn't race out the linear track. Yeah, we got to hear the moon landing and all that stuff in the background there on that other one. Yeah, Bob, digital video. That was some more digital video camera. Yeah, it was about the size of a pack of cigarettes, looked like. And I think if they make them any smaller there, you'd be able to wear them for a wristwatch. And as usual, you had some good video. And all you guys always have good video. Even Steve was talking about his being so crappy, but I thought it looked good. And I wanted to know, Steve, what kind of a camera that are you using there? I know Sid has got a high 8 and Bob's got a high 8 and Jim's got the digital, but that's a good picture where you were sitting in front of it there. And I was just wondering what kind of a camera that was. So when you think of it, mention that. Yeah, I like my new Sony 1000. It's got a lot of outlets and inlets on it, inputs I mean, and that makes it really nice. It's got 3 Super VHS inputs on it, and it's a little tricky. I had a little trouble getting started off on it because when you select number 2, which is on the front, well, that works fine. And then when you select 1 or 3, which is on the back, I didn't get anything. I said, well, what's going on? And so I got the book out to check it out, see if there's any secret to it. And sure enough, there was. There's a menu that you pull up on the screen, and you have to select which either 1 or 3, Super Video or Standard. And then you also have to select it with a button on the front of your VCR, which is a double whammy there on them multiple input-output VCRs, but it works really nice. And that's really a nice VCR for the price. Now I'm glad that Bob finally got a little better there with that cold, man. Me and him both have been sick. I had 3 colds since Christmas. My wife had the flu, and Bob was sick for I don't know how long. And every time I talked to him or Jim, either one, they'd say, well, Bob ain't doing too good. And I heard you said your daughter had to go back for some more tests or something there, Bob. I hope everything turned out good with her. I don't know, I was pretty sick, so was my wife. We took a flu shot, but I think we still got the flu or pneumonia. She thought she had pneumonia, so I tried to get her to go to the doctor, but I couldn't get her started. I'm glad Steve got that fixed on that videotape there, because he looks like he's a pro at repairing them tapes. Yeah, he's good at that. That little video he made there showed how well he could handle that kind of stuff. And also, Steve, I'm sorry I didn't put your name on there. I was just used to having 4 guys on there, so I put 4 names on there. And I completely missed yours, but that was an accident. I didn't mean to do that. And I thought your 3rd generation there didn't look all that bad, really, because 3rd generations don't look too good anyway, but I thought that looked as good or better than most 3 generation tapes. Except for the glitches, you know, which you have that a lot of times, especially if you don't have flying erase head. You'll be taping over tape that hadn't been erased, and then that causes you to have rainbow stripes and all that kind of stuff. But now they're coming out with new VCRs now with 2 flying erase heads, so that it double erases it right behind the record head, so that you don't get anything in between the 2. Or the old ones, your erase head was off there on the side like your linear audio, and so there was, like, 10 seconds or so before from the head over to the audio head, which was stationary, and that caused a great big piece of tape there that had color video on it, and you was taping over that without it being erased. Now you can insert over it and cover it up, but you can't tape over it and cover it up unless it's been erased. That's why I got that erase head on there. I've got a lot of my tape that I made with my first camcorder. Well, it wasn't a camcorder, it was a video recorder back in 1980, and they didn't have flying erase heads back then, and you get that color bar across the screen, which sometimes it would be a narrow stripe like a pinstripe, and again it'd be a 1/4 inch wide or 1/2 inch wide, and that would slowly go down. It was running horizontal across the screen. It would slowly go from the top all the way down to the bottom. It went out the bottom, and then you'd have good video, but that was like at least 7 or 8 seconds. And it would do that a lot of times if you backed your tape up to tape over something. You would have that bunch. It hadn't been erased. Okay, let's see what we got next here now. I see Steve's having trouble with his MX1, and I'm having trouble with my MX1. I've done sent it back one time. One time it messed up, and I sent it back. I guess that was last year. Now it works good on the RCA connectors, but on my Super Video inputs, it's all snowy when you start to switch. And so I got to bundle that thing up and send it back and get that straightened out, because I've got my AB roll editor hooked up and 3 Super VHS decks, so I can do everything in Super VHS. And then you have to run it through the MX1 so you can do AB roll, and then it don't work. It'll work on the RCA, but not on that. It starts that snowy stuff when it starts to switch. So back to them. Mine will go too there, Steve. Yeah, some of you mentioned about the, I think it was Jim and Steve, saying that the camera would shut off on him when he was, after a few minutes. And Jim said that's because the tape was in it. Well, that is on most cameras, that is true, but some cameras will shut off whether there's a tape in it or not. It'll wait about 5 minutes and kick itself off. My AG450 is one, for example. I use it to transfer slides or snapshots to video, but even with no tape in it, you have to reset the thing about every 5 minutes because it kicks off. But all my Shark ones, you can take the tape out and it'll stay on all day. So that just depends on what brand you got, I guess, and how they set it up. Well, I apologize again for this video, especially to Sid and Steve, because this is what they say all the time. But like I told you a while ago, I recognize these ponds here where they kept boats back then, but everything else was totally different. And then Sid was talking about his cruise. We've been talking about a cruise for a long time. My wife is afraid of water, and she says, I don't know about, going on no cruise where you can't see land. And her sister and my brother-in-law, which is on this tape here that we've been running, she's afraid of an airplane. So we wanted to go somewhere, fly somewhere. We wanted to fly up here even, instead at Cincinnati from South Carolina, but she's afraid to fly. My wife's afraid of water, so we can't seem to get together. Now, her sister kind of wants to go on a cruise, and but my wife's a little leery of it. And then my wife's been on an airplane, and she loves them, but her sister is afraid of them, so we can't get no happy medium. We just have to drive everywhere we go. We usually go to the beach. Either this is where we went to Wilmington, and then next year we went to Myrtle Beach, and then went to Charleston because we got some relatives down there. We went down there to the shipyards and stuff, and I enjoyed it, but I'm a little leery of them airplanes, especially when it goes to flying over water. My daughter was in Hawaii for 2 years when her son was over in the service at Schofield Barracks, and they lived right down on the beach there in Honolulu.